Hello.
Hello, everybody else. Welcome back to the second half of the Girl Dinner Book Club podcast dedicated to Fourth Wing. And we're going to give you the rest of our sloppy synopsis today.
Oh my God. I was so unprepared for that to come out of your mouth. That is horrific.
Speaking of things going in or out of your mouth, what are you having for girl dinner tonight?
I'm having some red beans and rice with a side of watermelon edible.
That sounds delightful. I had two crab cakes from Hy-Vee with some Asian broccoli salad and a side of a couple fat ribs from my dad pit.
That sounds like some really spicy girl dinner, girl. I'm not gonna lie. That's some top
Was.
tier shit.
Yeah. So my name's Haley. Obviously, that's Elena. We are two friends that have been reading the same books for what feels like a million years.
A million and
And
one years.
yeah, at least. And we're just here to tell you about books that we like and maybe help you see them in a new light.
We ended the last episode, part one, with Sorrengail and Tairn getting busy. And we found out when these dragons get busy, because Sorrengail, you remember, is Xaden's dragon, and Tairn is Violet's dragon.
They're
And
all
when
bonded together
they're all bonded together. They're
in a
having
real
this
hot and sexy way.
yeah, it's just very, I guess they just know when each other is doing the deed. So that's appropriate.
They can feel it. And
Yeah.
Violet doesn't know how to shield yet, so she's just getting the full brunt of mating time.
Oh yeah, it's making her horny. So we ended with her getting with Xaden, and they make out after he gives her like a really short shielding lesson.
And it was
they
calamitous.
yeah, it was just this really cringy conversation, and they ended up, making out really hard. And they go their separate ways because Xaden is pushing her away, and it's like, this is a mistake, blah, blah.
These aren't your feelings. And she's like, boy, yes, they are.
Yeah, he's just not interested in hearing anything she has to say. So moving on. The next day, she instantly has to tell Rhiannon the hot
Obviously.
tea. Like, I just got with this super hot dude. We made out. This is what went down. Yada yada. Rhiannon wants more details, but Violet does kind of digress that, like, it was just a kiss, but he definitely knew, like, what he was doing.
Yeah, I mean, look at him, right? And then Rhiannon's like, that's cool. Look at this. I can make things disappear and reappear in different places.
And Violet's like, I could probably make Xaden's dick disappear. No, that doesn't happen.
Where's it going to reappear, Helena?
You already know where it's going to reappear. They leave for class after having this conversation. They're going to Professor Carr's class, I believe, because she's going to go work on her signet. That's what they do in that class. Once she gets her signet and her power starts to manifest, she's allowed to go to his class. This is where he's going to teach her all the magic-y stuff.
But she doesn't have her signet yet. She's still waiting on that to happen.
Right. She does.
But they're going to learn lesser magic.
Right. Yeah. So she has her like bond that's happened between her and Tairn.
They're channeling now.
Yeah, it's like channeling. So she is able to like get magic and do these like lesser magics and such, but she can't actually use her signet power, which hasn't manifested at this point. Before she even gets to class, though, she runs into Dane, who has been ignoring her for weeks, ever since the incident with the Amber woman who unlocked her door and let all of the cadets in to murder her brutally.
And he like didn't believe her because he's a twat.
Dane tells her, like, you let Tairn share your memory with everyone instead of just showing me yourself. And she didn't show him her memory because if she would have, he would have seen her stop time with Andarna's power, which is a huge no-no. Nobody can know that because nobody knows that Feathertails, have this specific type of powers, yada yada. It's a huge secret. Okay.
Or that they're, babies and that people could channel without having the use of dragons.
Right. So she can't let him know that. And that's why she didn't do that in the first place.
Also, he didn't fucking ask.
Right. He didn't ask. He tells her that he should have believed her. It just wasn't like possible in his mind that Amber could have done something like that. And Violet was just straight up, you didn't ask. You just reached for my face. They go back and forth a little bit. He accuses her of trusting Xaden more than her. And she's like, that's not true. Shit. Wait, is it a little true? Like, girl, yeah, honestly.
At least they didn't ask for consent. Like,
right, exactly. And Violet ends the conversation, telling her that he can't keep her in a glass cage and keep her protected this whole time. Like, that's not going to work for her. She's over that.
Also, she's bonded to 2 badass dragons and can defend herself.
Yeah, exactly. So he also makes this fun point where she's saying that he's overprotective, right? And then he brings up that Xaden is also overprotective because he has Liam following her around. And she's like, that's kind of a good point. I'm gonna just deflect that with Liam is around because even the strongest rider can't watch their back for more than 30 unbonded cadets gunning for them. And if I die, Xaden dies. What's your excuse? And
Which,
Dane
honestly, good rebuttal.
Right. She has a good point. Is he maybe still a little controlling? Yeah, but also Xaden's hot, so it's fine that he's controlling. Dane kind of sucks, so it's not cool that he's controlling. You see how girl math works?
This double standard we have here.
Yeah, which, fair. Oh, he does also tell her that because he has a higher security clearance because of his signet, that he knows that Xaden has secrets and has all these reasons to hate her mother and could use her as revenge on her. Violet is kind of, acknowledging that. Good point or whatever.
Still very skeptical, though.
Yeah, is very skeptical. Ultimately, the conversation ends pretty nicely. Dane apologizes to her. She moves on to Professor Carr's class. She has a little conversation with him, and he's like, oh, your signet still hasn't manifested? And she's like, yeah, no, it hasn't. And he's like, okay, great. And Violet is understandably a little down about this. And I think this is super cute. I really like her and Rhiannon's relationship because Rhiannon reminds her, you're Taryn's writer, dude. You are definitely the strongest writer of our generation. I just think she's just so sweet. I just love that about her.
Sweet. We do get why Violet's a little upset though, because once you start channeling power, if you don't manifest a signet within a certain amount of time, the magic will just burn you alive from the inside, essentially.
You just explode. You're just chilling one day and then poof, you
gotta
dead.
give that power somewhere to go. You have to release it or it destroys you. So that's scary. And he also makes a point to be yeah, well, listen, your brother and your sister were both pretty badass, so we're expecting big things from you, Violet. No pressure. Rude.
Which is she's already bonded to 2 dragons. Did her sister and brother bond to 2 dragons? Girl, step off.
Yeah.
What the hell is happening there?
A lot of pressure being a Sorrengail, man.
For real, though. Moving along, the hand-to-hand matches have resumed, and Violet has gotten better at the hand-to-hand matches. She's actually taken out 2 opponents now over a couple-week period. She no longer needed to poison them, so that's cool. She's fighting fair now, which we love for her. She does find out from sneaking to the challenge board. We find out there's a challenge board. This is where she's been sneaking off to find out who she's fighting next. She ends up figuring out...
I want to know where this board is.
Me too, because when it's first acknowledged, I don't get where she's sneaking off to because nobody else knows about it. Everyone is very confused as to how she knows who she's going to be fighting.
And is it in the faculty lounge? Nobody else has... I don't understand.
Right, I guess, and nobody's ever around, but she'll sneak out late at night, and then she realizes that dun dun dun, she's gonna fight Jack fucking Barlow, the super huge douchebag who we all hate and wish could have died multiple times at this point.
Mm-hmm. She's an absolute dickbag.
Yeah, literally the fucking worst. I really loved her conversation with Taryn in this part too, because she's like, oh, he's gonna kill me. And Taryn says, he's going to try. And she says, any advice? And he goes, don't let him. Okay, great. Thank you, all-powerful and intelligent dragon. You are so very helpful. We love you.
I love how just unbelievably sassy, not just to Aaron, but like the bonus chapters at the end of the holiday edition of Fourth Wing, we get a little bit of Segail's monologues and also very sassy.
They just have no
sassy.
time for anybody's shit. I mean, let's be real. They're huge. They have big claws and they breathe fire.
They live forever and they're fucking tired of humans bullshit.
Yeah, they are completely unbothered and can say and do whatever the hell they want. We love them. So Violet decides to corner Liam and asks him to keep this information to himself and is basically asking him, are you my friend or am I just your assignment? And he's like, obviously you are my friend. Is you telling me this going to put your safety at risk in any way? And she's like, no, because you can't do anything about it anyway. And he just agrees and says, okay, I'll keep it to myself. What do you got for me? And she just casually drops that she is going to have to fight Jack Barlow. And Liam immediately wants to take back his promise because
we get shocked Pikachu face.
Yeah, exactly. Because he straight up asks, he straight up asks, is this going to hurt you in any way? She's like, no, not at all. I'm just going to fight the one person who wants to kill me more than anyone else here. And he's like, do you not understand the English language or what I just asked you, woman? Like, what the hell is going on here?
Manipulator extraordinaire, Violet Sorrengail, yeah.
Right. And the way that she basically tries to tell him that, having Xaden interfere would be useless is just that after the whole thing with Xaden siding with her, after the deal with Amber and him having Amber executed because of what she did, that there would be a total uproar if Xaden were to step in and change how the match was lined up. And she doesn't want that. And she also doesn't want to look weak. So Violet is back to her old ways. She's ready. She's got a little ace up her sleeve. You know what I'm saying? Because she knows Jack Barlow is not going to go down easy.
Yeah, so she does find out, I think we mentioned this in the last episode, that he is allergic to oranges.
Yeah, it's brought up in the cafeteria when someone holds an orange close to his face. He smacks it out of their hand. It's also referenced in this chapter 2 before her fight that she sees what he has on his lunch tray that morning.
And
for
specifically
breakfast.
What he doesn't. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So you kind of get an idea that, she's up to no good. And we love that for her. She starts off pretty strong in this fight, too. She's kind of taunting him. She draws first blood. She gets a little cut on his hand. She's like, you gonna fuck with me? What you gonna do?
And then the motherfucker starts blatantly cheating.
Yeah, he gets a little bit real and starts trying to go for some death blows. The professor is telling him to back off a little bit.
No, I'm talking about when he starts fucking using his signet to try and straight up murder her, and that's the one thing that's not allowed in these matches.
Right. However, before he does that, she does enrage him because he kind of turns the tide of their battle and gets her arm behind her back and is like, I'm gonna whoop your ass. And she decides to partially dislocate her shoulder as she rolls away to get away from him and promptly kicks him in his ball sack. Very difficult, very hard. I don't know why I said very difficult. It was not very difficult to kick that man in the balls.
It was very difficult for him.
Yeah, it was very difficult for him to come back from that. But him getting that pissed is what led him to punch her in the fucking face, knee her in the gut, and just grab her by the dome and just starts violently vibrating her head, like you said. And one of her friends and the professor tries to step in, but the power gets channeled to them too. And so they back off. It's too much. And she is literally dying and looking up at his hellacious grin that he's got on his face. And her response is to smash this glass vial into his teeth, to which I say, fucking ow. That sounds horrible.
I mean, he fucking deserves, and obviously there's oranges in the vial or orange zest or something. But yeah, she shoves it right in his fucking face.
And it smashes on his teeth, and he goes from being all smiles and super happy that he's murdering this girl to wheezing and literally being unable to breathe, like me. Anytime spring or summer happens and allergies get too bad, we love that.
Or fall, or you're really the start of any season for me.
So that's the end of that battle. It was some good shit. They both beat the hell out of
Oh,
each other. They both end up passing out, and she wakes up in the healer's quadrant. And who is sitting next to her, all pissy?
it's
Xaden.
Xaden. And the reason he's there and he's mad is because right before she goes into this fight, Liam is like, can I please go tell him now? And she's like, I mean, you're not going to make it in time, but sure, whatever. So he goes to get Xaden, and Xaden comes back just in time to see her face planting into the mat. He's not happy.
He is not happy,
He's big mad.
leads to him telling her as much and saying that Violet should have told him what was going on, especially if she knew that she was going to be fighting Jack Barlow. And she straight up told him kind of the same thing she's telling Dane, which is like, you're not going to make me look weak. I'm done with this. I'm going to do
Back the
this
fuck
on my
up off
own.
me.
Yeah, I'm an independent lady. INDEP.
Do you know what that means?
Which is like her theme song throughout this whole thing is everybody's being like, poor baby Violet. And she's like, I'm actually trying to like get better and improve and like be a badass. And they're like, but you're so sweet and soft and breakable. And Xaden isn't like that, the whole time, but he still is pretty overbearing. Granted, she's trying to be murdered and all this other shit. But I think he gives her as much respect as he can and is as reasonable as he can, kind of with his own life being on the line.
In comparison to Dane, he does like go out of his way to like help her improve, instead of just trying to like shelter her all the time. He's trying to train her in combat. He's trying to make sure that she has a way to stay on her dragon during flight maneuvers. Like,
yeah, he pushes
he's
her.
doing the best he can.
Doesn't coddle her as much as Dane does. Dane's version of protecting her is, let me keep you from all of this. And Xaden's version of protecting her is, I'm going to be up all in your shit and supervise you, but I'm going to be pushing you to be better and be a badass. So I don't have to do that anymore. And Xaden tells her, apparently, I can't trust Liam to report deadly situations or Rhiannon to train you on the mat, seeing how easily Barlow had you pinned. So as of this moment, I'm taking over. And she says, taking over what? And he says, everything when it comes to you.
If we weren't already overbearing enough, we're gonna fucking kick it into turbo drive now.
Right. Because before he's just had Liam there following her around. He has Imogen lifting weights with her. He has Rhiannon training her on the mat, So
well, Rhiannon was doing that on her own. That wasn't.
Yeah, she was doing that, anyway. But this has been her little training posse up until now. But now he is going to be personally overseeing all of her shit. So
which,
that's
like, how
cool
does he have the time to be doing this shit? Doesn't he have third-year things to do? I don't.
Yeah, you'd think he'd have third-year things to do, more important things to handle, like his own studies, which should be probably the most intense, you'd think, for the third years. But yeah. I don't know. It seems like they're just kind of skeeting around, banging whoever they want, kind of vibing. I mean, it's kind of insinuated that he's going off on missions and stuff, but he's still almost always around all the time. So really, what is Xaden doing? We don't know. I would like those questions to be answered. Yeah, exactly. He's an enigma. Oh my God. So Violet's not even fully healed. And the next day rolls around and Xaden is going to spar with her on the mat. And she just agrees because, I guess she's got to. Before they step on, Xaden, who is fully strapped with a ton of daggers all over him, looks Violet dead in her face and says, take off all those daggers before you get in this ring with me. And she's like, but you have all of yours. And he's like, well, I guess you're just going to have to trust me. And she's like, oh my God, is he going to kill me? Is it going to be now? Like, why would he choose now? Blah, blah. We get the same bullshit of like, yes, we know, girl. Xaden could kill you at any moment as if he's fucking going to.
His lethal grace.
Yeah, his lethal dick is going to choke me. What? So they start sparring. And I am putting sparring in the biggest, most eye-rolling quotes you can imagine, because it's kind of them just rolling around sexily while Violet takes these daggers from him, because she takes one from him and realizes that they're really pretty. They're tearish made and they have all these like knots and symbols on them and stuff. And Xaden tells her that he had them made for her because she needed better daggers that were more fitting for her combat style.
Well, yeah, because that's the reason why she's been getting disarmed so easily, is because she's going around with like big dude daggers and she's got dainty little girl hands. So
she needs something better.
He got her some appropriately sized daggers.
Yeah, she was rocking them Dollar General daggers. He came in with them Gucci daggers. Now she's ready to fuck some shit up. So they are having this kind of sexually charged, flirtatious conversation while they're rolling around on the mat. And she's just like, I'm going to pluck this dagger and this dagger and this dagger. And they get all of the daggers. And it's super sexy. We love that for them. And that's pretty much the end of that scene. Now she has cool daggers. We love that for her. So her life just becomes training over the next month with Xaden on the mat and Imogen in the weight room. And her signet still has not manifested. She's just chilling, only doing her little lesser magics and stuff.
Getting mildly nervous at this point.
Yeah, because more time is going on and, she's getting closer and closer to, exploding. And we're not about that. We're not here for that. So one day she is going to Professor Carr's class and Xaden stops her and says that she will be coming with him for the day. Dane tries to do Dane things and be like, no, bro,
No.
she's going to come to this class. And Xaden was like, well, you stupid little bitch. Her signet is not going to manifest in this classroom. If it was going to, it would have done so already. To which I say, yeah, man, you're probably right. What the hell are you going to gain out of sitting in this class when the power just hits you randomly? But whatever. I feel like there are holes in what are those things called when professors give you the start of the year? Like, it's like
lesson
what we're going to be
plan?
doing. Yeah, like there are holes
Syllabus?
in this lesson plan. Yes, the syllabus. That's what it is. I keep
Yeah.
thinking synopsis. It's just in my fucking brain now. The professor is providing the very sweet plot holy synopsis. No.
Yeah.
So I feel like there's plot holes or just holes in general in this fucking syllabus because I'm like, how has everybody are they really learning that much that's causing their signet to manifest in a classroom?
Also,
it doesn't seem like a classroom thing.
Okay, so I had like some questions with this as well because so everybody starts channeling at different times, right? And everybody manifests their signet at different times as well. So like, how is there a lesson plan when like
not everybody's on the same page?
Yeah, like everybody's at different levels. And so is he just individually training everybody? If so, like why do they all have to be in the class at the same time? This particular class, I don't really understand how it works. I don't get the structure.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like there is a lot of structure.
But isn't this also where Xaden is like, listen, she already, like, I've been training her anyway. And she, like, kind of demonstrates her lesser
lesser powers with, like, a watch and is like, look, see, she's well practiced. And then he grabs her and they leave.
Yeah.
He's just like, I'm done with all of your shit. Don't question me. I'm Xaden. I'm the third year. I know exactly what's going on. And I'm doing very important things totally throughout this whole book and not just trying to fuck this girl. To be fair,
he is his wing leader, so...
Yeah, right. So
you're
nobody
not supposed
can
to
go up against him anyway.
Yeah, your subordinates. So anyway, yeah, so they go off and do their own thing. They leave.
Yeah, they're heading up to the little flight field or whatever, and they're taking the stairs up, and this is where they have this little confrontation. Not really a confrontation. They just happen to run into Colonel Ados, which is Dane's dad, along with, what do they call him? Commandant? Is it Panchi? Commandant. Girl, I should not be allowed to speak the English language. Oh also, my God.
Like, isn't your husband in the military? Like,
I don't think they have commandants in the Navy, girl. I'm just saying. Starts googling.
I don't fucking know. Yeah, I'm gonna look it up.
Listen, okay, Sergeant Commander Panache.
I think it's like Pan Check or something.
Pancake.
Yeah.
Commandant Pancake. Yeah, his name is Panche.
Pancheck, I think. That's what the audiobook says. I don't know.
Listen. There's no K or anything on the end of his name.
I don't know. Not even fucking Rebecca Yarros is pronouncing her own names correct. How should I know?
Okay, we're just going to refer to him as Commandant Pancake from now on. So that's what's happening. That's what I'm rolling with. Deal with it. So they run into them two first, and then guess who steps out from the stairwell behind them? It's General Sorrengail, a.k.a. her horrible bitch mother. And...
Tell me how you really feel, Elena.
Dude, she's such an asshole. So she's literally just there to kind of shit on Violet and is like, I see you've bonded to two dragons, but you still lack any kind of signet power. That's nice of you. And Violet counters this being like, hey, I have the strongest shields of anybody in my year. And her mom says, well, with a dragon like Taryn, I would certainly hope so. If not, all that enviable power will have been ... squandered. Love that, General Sorrengail. You are so just supportive, loving, warm, deep down, just a great
I'm like,
person
can't you
with
just tell her
maternal
good job
instincts.
like one time? Like one
Yeah.
single time?
And then move on, you know?
Would it kill you?
She follows up inquiring if she's wielding any powers from the golden dragon. And Violet says, absolutely not. Nope, never heard golden dragon and pout. What? Like, girl, never, not, no, that's not happening at all. Not even a little. And Dane's dad wants to know if they can study her golden dragon, to which Violet says, absolutely
No.
fucking not. That will not be happening. And that's the end of that encounter. That's pretty much all that goes down, is that Violet now knows that she's kind of the discussion between the higher-ups, and they are really super interested in this golden dragon and what it is capable of. Xaden tells her for that day that they are all going to be flying together, and they're all going to be learning together. He wants to fly with her to see why she's falling off so much, and he wants Andarna to learn how to keep up with Sorrengail and Taryn.
And you want Sorrengail to stop being so bossy.
Yeah, stop being so bossy. And Sorrengail needs to learn how to follow because she's very used to only leading. And Taryn needs to learn to share the space of the world around him because he's not very good at that because he is very big and large. And that's the end of the cute little flying thing that they got going off into the distance.
Yeah.
I just imagine like the Breakfast Club music playing as they like fly off into the sunset.
Don't you forget about me. Somebody fist pumps into the air on their dragon like fucking Sebastian on Falcor and in the Neverending Story.
All right, so then we get a little time jump, and we are in the squad battle, which just kind of is happening. We love the squad battle, apparently.
Yeah, so like, did we know about the squad battle before? Because I feel like it just kind of came up out of nowhere, and everybody just knew what it was.
I feel like we didn't. Maybe it was briefly mentioned, but the only
Did we
thing
just
that
miss
we've
it?
really heard about, maybe, honestly, it could have been something that I glanced over or whatever. But all of a sudden we're having a squad battle. And I'm like, is this the same as the War Games? It's not the same as the War Games. The War Games have not happened yet. The War Games have also been brought up that they will be something that happens at the end of the year. It's like their final test, whatever. Mm-hmm. This is not that, okay? This is just a random
Super Bowl of Dragon
battle.
College, yeah.
Yeah, the Super Bowl of Dragon College is not happening currently. Moving on, this squad battle is split into 3 parts, all right? There's a race on Dragonback,
which we hear
combat.
Really nothing about. It's just kind of mentioned in passing.
Yeah, the only thing that we know about up to this point is they're in the middle of this squad battle. The race happened. Violet fell off a ton, and she came in last place. And we start the chapter in the middle of the hand-to-hand combat with Rhiannon kicking somebody's ass. And when that battle finishes and everything is all, wrapped up, Commandant Pancake comes forward to be like, oh, congratulations, everybody. I know you expected the 3rd trial to happen tomorrow, but actually it's going to happen right fucking now. And as he's saying that, they're all realizing that all of their squad leaders are nowhere to be found. And he's like, yeah, that's intentional.
I feel like the way things are set up in this college is like all of the instructors moonlight as reality TV hosts because they come out there and you hear the music in the background get all like tense and they're like, plot twist. Here's what's happening now.
They just like say something and they got their big speakers and it's like dun dun.
Yeah.
Just providing like all this like dramatics to it and shit. Anyway, he tells them that the goal of this final trial, which they mention is different every year, so they never know what the 3rd trial is going to be. He tells them, you're on your own, riders. Your mission is simple. Find and acquire by any means necessary the one thing that would be most advantageous to our enemies regarding the war effort. And Rhiannon whispers to Vi that if they win, it'll be enough points to put them in first place. It's like 60 fucking points or whatever. So they'd be in first place and they would win the big prize, which is what? It's not a vacation. It's not a new car. It's getting to go to the front fucking lines of a war.
Hooray! Even closer to death.
Yeah, because who doesn't love that? So I just thought that was like a really fucked up. I'm like, man, in the middle of this horrendous war college, you can't give these people like a brief fucking break to maybe go to the beach, get their nails done. I
Yeah,
don't know,
where's our anime
something.
beach day episode? I mean,
Yeah, exactly. We got no anime beach day episode. I actually had a whole conversation with my husband about how every anime has to have a beach episode. It doesn't matter how serious it is. Like, I didn't think Attack on Titan would follow that rule. There is a beach episode in Attack on Titan.
No,
and
it's a very common trope. Yeah.
Yeah, they all got to be going to the beach. Anyway, not these guys, not these fuckers in this dragon college. They don't know what the beach is. It's not happening for them. They don't get to experience joy. They get to experience war and death. So Violet already kind of has a plan in mind, right? And she thinks it's crazy, so she's not opening up, right away, while everyone in her group is trying to determine who's going to take lead because their leaders are all gone and they got to figure out what the hell they're going to do. So pink-haired Imogen, who has been helping her, weightlift and such, is the one that is taking charge. And Violet says she does kind of have an idea. And Imogen is like, spit it out, girl. What is the idea? And Violet's like, oh, just like breaking into my mom's fucking office. It's like, okay, great. Because there's no rules. They can acquire whatever they want by any means necessary. So Violet concocts a little plan that they will essentially use each of their signet powers to the best of their ability. Not her, of course, because she doesn't have hers, but all of her little homies do. And they decide
she's the brains of the operation. She doesn't need her signet at this point in time.
Right, exactly. So essentially, there's one guard in front of her mom's door. They send one of them to run down the hallway, and the guard starts chasing them. And I think one of them have the ability to remove wards, so they're able to break into her mom's office. And she's kind of ruffling through some papers, digging through her shit. And she looks up and she sees the map that's on her mom's wall. And this map has everything on it pertaining to the war effort. There's up-to-date information on battles, where battlements are, where troops are lined up, how heavy, the troop density is, all this stuff. And she already knows, seeing that they will undoubtedly fucking win. So they take it. They have to knock the guard out on the way back down. And when they make it back to the professors, like just in the nick of time, they're like, oh, what do you have? And she's like, oh, an up-to-date map of literally everything I have just previously mentioned. And they're like, some guy asks like, oh, well, how do you know it's legit? And they're like, because we broke into General Sorrengail's office. And everybody's just like, wow!
Chaos ensues.
Yeah, it's just nuts. And they win. So it takes a full day to fly there. And when they eventually end up making it there, Rhiannon is kind of like quiet a little bit, and Violet tells something is like a little off with her. And she ends up telling her that her village is only like an hour away by foot. And she has a sister there who was pregnant before she left for the college, and it would be super cool.
Baby.
Yeah, she's had the baby. And which, like, gross, but also, cute, I guess.
I mean, good for her if that's what she wants.
Right. It's totally fine. Anyway, she wants to go see this baby, because it's her niece. And that's obviously a big no-no because they're not supposed to be talking to their family or doing anything.
Is it a niece? I thought it was a nephew.
Niece, nephew, who knows? It's a baby.
Of some undiscernible gender, yeah.
Some baby of whatever gender that has popped right out the sister. And Rhiannon wants to go see the baby because it's a baby. We also find out that Mira is there, Violet's older sister, who's super mega badass, whooping ass on the back of her dragon.
They have a cute little reunion.
Yeah. They get to meet up and, oh my God, I missed you so much, blah, blah. And we fast forward 2 days later into this little trip, and they've found the perfect opportunity for Violet and Rhiannon to like sneak out. And they do. They hop out their fucking window. They're all James Bond-like, and they fucking immediately run into Mira.
Face plant right into Mira. Yeah, not nearly as sneaky as they thought they were to begin with. And she's like, you were really weird at dinner, so I switched my shift.
Yeah, like I was immediately picking up on all of that. I love Mira. She honestly is a pretty cool character. She's definitely, well, I mean, we're about to discuss it here in a few minutes, jumping ahead. But the only thing I have a problem with is how she treats and looks at Xaden, I guess. but
any
it's
of the
like
marked
fair.
ones.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like she's definitely very marked ones racist. We find out that a lot of people are just very shitty to the people who are the marked ones, you know, which are the kids of the people who like rebelled against them. But also like they were the kids. Like, come on,
Yeah.
man. Like this is some Hunger Games bullshit.
To be fair, no one else really has experience being in a unit with any of the marked ones or the people with the rebellion relics, because the third years that are graduating when Zayden graduates, that's going to be the first year of students
Oh,
that
that's
has to,
right.
yeah, that
Yeah,
has to
that will
fly in
actually
unit.
be okay. Yeah.
So
That's
they're
a
all
really good
used
point.
to them, you know? They're like, okay, it's whatever, it's no big deal. But like all of these other people
It's still
are,
like a really
yeah, it's kind of
taboo thing
taboo.
for them.
Yeah. Which, you know,
Okay. Well, that does make more sense. You're right. You're
still
bringing that
shitty,
back.
still prejudice, but
Right. There's
in
not
their
a
defense,
ton of
yeah.
fun. I just feel like for as smart as she is and being able to think through everything, I'm like, this is really the initial reaction that you had to this? Like, I don't know. Okay, cool. I mean, I
But I
guess it could
mean,
be
you know,
clouded with the emotions with her brother and like
yeah, I
all
was gonna
that
say
shit.
his dad killed her brother, so there's, you know, there's some bad blood there. I get why she's mad, sort of.
Right.
Okay, so they do actually get to go see Rhiannon's family, even though they get caught, because Violet guilt trips Mira into it and was like, but what if I had just had a baby and you wanted to see me? Like, would you have been able to stay away? And she's like, fine, we'll go. She's like, you
Okay,
can
I
come
guess
with
you have a
us.
point.
Yeah. So they all go together and they have a wonderful time. And Violet and Mira are talking like, man, they all really love each other. We were never like that. Our family was never was never like that. Rhiannon's like bouncing her nephew, niece, genderless baby on her knee.
Yeah. I totally forgot that that's like one part of their conversation is like, wow, yeah, they're like a real family. They like actually care about each other. Like, what is that like? What
Even
is
when mom was less of a bitch, we weren't like that.
right? They're like a loving, doting mother. What in the fuck am I looking at? This is out of control.
An unbroken home.
Yeah, no. Jesus Christ. Oh my god.
I get it, Violet. I get it, Mira. I don't know what an unbroken home looks like either. Neither one of us do, for that matter.
Oh yeah. Oof. We love those modernized family vibes. You know what I'm saying? Oh my god, we are horrible.
No,
Violet.
we are being realistic. Okay, 50% of marriage ends in divorce.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Or death, I guess. I don't know. I don't know what the statistics are there.
Oh yeah, half of marriage is in because the other half, they just died or maybe something. I don't know. Yeah, let's never quote statistics on this podcast. We do not deliver facts, okay? Only opinion. Nobody take anything we say seriously. Let's do that. Oh my god.
We're always kidding all the time, except for when we're not, and it's your job to figure out when that is.
Yes, thank you. They're getting to the last hour of being at Rhiannon's sister's house. And Mira and Violet, they step outside and they're having the conversation about the family, like you said. Also, Mira drops that she has a book of fables that she made Fira. What the fuck?
Are we right back into ACOTAR?
I'm like, wait a second.
Relapsed into Sarah J. Maas.
I just had like a little stroke. I'm like, okay. And then Tamlin.
Please no.
Oh my god. Okay, we are not getting into this. Oh my goodness. Okay, so Mira tells Violet, not Feyre, that she has a book of fables that she made Violet leave behind on the day she went into
not a book of fables. It's the book of fables she took out of her fucking backpack.
Yeah. So she has that and she's going to give it to her once they get back to the outpost. And Violet is super happy about this, even though she doesn't really remember a lot of the fables. Mira does kind of talk about, she mentions that the fables do involve like the mythical venin. Mm-hmm. Is that what they're called?
And the wyvern, yeah.
And the wyverns and the venin are people that like use up or they overuse all their power and they become like consumed by it and they're
so
really
they
evil
Yeah, instead of channeling from dragons or from the what are they called? Griffins. There we go.
Yeah.
Dragons or griffins, they suck the magic out of the land, which is kind of a perverse way to channel, and it's not good for you. You have like just this overwhelming craving to continue doing it, and then the more you do it, it drives you mad, and then you turn into a venom.
It's like me with hot Cheetos. I have one and then I'm just consumed by the all-powerful hot Cheeto. And I can't stop myself. It's horrible for me, but I must have the second and the third and the 407th.
And then the whole bag of hot
Yeah.
Cheetos.
And then I'm crying with my red ass fingers and this empty bag
and your
of
eyes
hot
are
Cheetos.
bloodshot because you forgot to wipe your fingers off before you
I already
dry.
feel heartburn emanating from the depths of my body, ready to just fuck me right up. Oh my god. Anyway, they're wrapping up this conversation and about to head out, and Violet casually asks Mira if she's ever been stationed with anybody who had a mated dragon. And Mira was like, once. Why? And Violet says, oh, I was just curious. I was wondering how long they can be separated. And then they hear Xaden's sexy ass voice come from the shadows and say, turns out about 3 days is the max.
Yeah.
And they're just, what?
Yeah.
You know,
once again, shocked Pikachu face.
Yeah, once again, shocked Pikachu face because Xaden can just show up whenever the hell he feels like it. Okay, so we get another little skip ahead in their excursion on the front lines, and Mira is giving them like this theoretical lesson over a battle plan, essentially, where she has Dane in command and giving the
Dane
orders.
decides he's gonna take command, even though his wing leader is there.
Right, which Xaden agrees to. He says that
he's like, yeah, just pretend I'm not here, fine.
Yeah, just do it. Just do the thing.
Let's give him the position he so clearly desires. Get a little shot at Dane.
So Dane is kind of giving the orders on everything that's going down. And they're kind of going back and forth, having a little bit of a pissing contest. And Violet is thinking in her mind, don't be a dick. Or maybe she says, don't be a dick. One of them. And he speaks into her mind, you haven't even seen me try or whatever. And this is where we find
start to be a dick.
Yeah. And so now Pika just speak into her mind. And, it's obviously because their dragons are mated. So now they can just do the same thing. But it only works one way. Violet doesn't know how to speak to him back yet. So she just has to deal with his hot takes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's just spewing shit in her mind and is like, oh, well, don't look at me. Don't be weird. People are going to be like confused as to what you're doing. Like, don't be stupid. And he's just like being absolutely ridiculous. And like I said, they've been having their little pissing contest. So Mira, who is over everybody's shit, takes both of them and Violet outside the room and is like, listen, if you guys want to compare dick sizes, you should do it in private, not here, because this strife and going back and forth is not gonna fucking work. And basically Dane just tries to be like, oh, but Violet hangs out with Xaden and she's just with Xaden and it's horrible for her and oh my god, and it's just being like the biggest bitch. Like, honestly, he's such like a little fucking baby. He's like so butthurt over the fact that Violet is all up in Xaden's shit. And it was like, honestly, a lot of it is his fault. Let's be fucking real. He's not the greatest.
Whole lot of sympathy for Dane.
So Mira does have a lot of sympathy for Dane, though. She likes Dane. Dane was supposed to be the one that was protecting Violet this whole time. She wasn't supposed to be bonded to Xaden and stuff. And she says as much. She's basically just like, yeah, you being bonded to him is the worst thing that could ever happen. Right in front of Xaden, by the way. She just does not. She's like, yeah, you being bonded with Xaden is like the worst thing that could have happened to you. Like, it's horrible. And it's not even just because like his dad, killed their brother. She also pointed out that there's multiple ways to kill someone and he could be smothering her, essentially, like keeping her in his shadow. And Xaden is quiet this whole time until she says that. And he is immediately like, I'm the one who came here. Like, she didn't leave her lessons. She didn't stop what she was doing. Like, nothing I did made her, inconvenienced in any way. I don't know why you are saying this shit to me. And Mira's, okay, sure, whatever, man. Like, she just does not really care. She's still just wants them to make up and get over it. She doesn't want to deal with it.
Yeah, I think she tells them at one point to figure their shit out. They've been friends for 1,000,000 years. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Go work it out.
I mean, which, I don't know, how much longer are you all going to be friends, really? Well, you're not going to be friends. We already know they're not going to be friends. We know some shit happens. So I think they talk more, but like nothing really that interesting happens. What is interesting though is all of a sudden Griffins start attacking. Some Griffin riders are on the way, and that's pretty scary. And once again, we're on the front lines, so kind of like no shit. I guess it was bound to happen, you know?
Which, I mean, okay, so we say they're on the front lines. This is not like an outpost that sees a lot of combat. It's
Right.
kind of far back. And the guy that's like running the outpost when they first get there, one of the third years asks, are we going to see combat? And he's like, I certainly fucking hope not, or I would have failed in this being the safest place for the school to send you. And then, of course, they get attacked by Griffins. And Violet's dumbass is like, but Taryn's the biggest. We should stay and help. And she's worried about Mira. And like, I get it. I get that you're worried about your sister, but like you can't even stay on your fucking dragon, man. Like,
yeah, like you are not that bad of a bitch. Mira, bad bitch. You're like cool bitch, but you're not bad bitch, okay?
yeah.
Mira is bad bitch. And Mira tells Xaden to get her the hell out. She is essentially giving him a chance to build trust with her. And she says, if you want to help, get her the fuck away from here.
Which, of course, she tries to fight until the very last second. And to manipulate her into shutting the fuck up and getting her on her dragon, they have like a real hot, steamy makeout moment at the top of a tower. So that's something. And
he says, do it for me, Violet.
Yeah, more manipulation tactics.
Yeah, she does not want to. He forces her to go. And that's that. She is stressy. She doesn't sleep for 2 days, and she shows up to battle brief class early. Xaden shows up to bring her coffee and, you know, apologize for forcing her to go, because she does tell him when they're on that tower, like, I'm gonna hate you for this. And he's like, I know. Like, I don't know what to tell you, girl. You got to get the fuck out of here. You can't die.
Dane is also there. He shows up early as well.
Yeah, Dane also shows up. When the professor gets there, he's like, oh, what are you guys doing here? And she essentially forces the professor to fucking tell her whether or not her sister is dead.
Okay, like,
should be common fucking courtesy, you would think.
I know, yeah, like him being like, oh, you can just wait till battle brief. And she's like, do you really want me to find out that like my sister died or was injured in a classroom full of people? Like, it's obviously not classified if we were fucking there. Just tell us. Yeah, I don't know. That seemed kind of douchey to me. I'm like, can you just like let this girl know if her family is alive? Shit.
Yeah, it's really like messed up. Especially, I don't know. Some of their rules are just fucking crazy. It's just like it's because they all got to be hardened, cruel, emotionless bitches waiting to kill everybody. So I mean, I guess fair, but
they're all being trained to be weapons. So
yeah, a fun thing though, you know, along with her sister not being dead, is Violet can talk back
Mira's
to
okay
Xaden now. Yeah, Mira's fine. She didn't die. We love that. And Violet can now say horrendous, cringy things to Xaden in her mind. So that's great. They can have all their gross little conversations in the middle of classes.
You say it's gross. I mean, like, it's a little cringy.
It's pretty
like,
cute.
Sometimes it's kind of hot.
Yeah, like, it's cute. It's nice. Let's be real. But sometimes they do be saying some cringy shit. Oh, my God.
Some of it does definitely give me the ick, but for the most part, it's at least, like, it's fun to read. This whole book is fun.
Oh, something I forgot about, too, that, you know, we forget to bring up. When she finds out that Mira is alive, her knees buckle, but she falls into Dane's arms. And when she turns around, Xaden is already gone. Boy, he immediately melted into the shadows and was like, okay, like,
not gonna stick around to watch that. Ew.
Right, exactly, because I don't think anybody wants to see that. Let's be real.
Not shipping a Violet Dane romance.
Yeah, it's just not the vibe, honestly. He's just such a bitch. And he's such a bitch for what he does in the future.
So I was for like maybe the first chapter, and then like he just kept getting considerably worse.
Yeah. All right, so the Dragon College Super Bowl is here. The War Games, they are coming. They are beginning. They are going to go down. And Violet still doesn't have a signet. She still does not have a power. And basically for the Dragon Super Bowl, one team has an egg that they're defending, and another team has a flag that they are keeping with them essentially
But they don't
while
have
they
a
try to
base to
intercept
defend
the
it.
egg. Yeah, they don't have a base to defend it. So it's just they're mostly on offense and they still have some element of defense. Whoever gets the other's object first wins, right?
So they just split the fourth wing into like up two parts. Dane's defending the flag, and Xaden is trying to go after the egg.
Yeah.
And by Dane's defending the flag, I mean he's leading his squad to defend the flag.
Yes, yes. Also, before they take off, when Violet steps onto the flight field, she sees that Taryn has a saddle on his back because, as you know, she is still falling off this motherfucker on a regular basis. And she basically tells him that he can't do that. You know, what the hell is going on? We can't have a saddle. Nobody has a saddle. And Taryn tells her that, hey, girl, you keep forgetting that I'm a fucking dragon and I'm gonna do whatever the fuck I want.
And essentially the reason why no other dragon has ever had a saddle is because no other dragon has deemed it fit to go out of their way to make it easier for their rider to ride them. But Taryn's like, you make up for, you know, maybe your some lack of physical strength with your cunning and other things. So I don't mind going out of my way to do this. And when he lands, I love that he's like, I hear it's all the fashion. That was so cute.
He loves being fancy. And also, my favorite part of all of this is that the little golden dragon has a little harness on also as well. So she can like attach to Taryn's belly or his chest, rather, I guess, like between his legs. And so she can fly around with them.
She's like, now I can come too.
Yeah, now I can come too. Little baby dragon. She is just living it up. As you know, she's figuring out, she's putting it together. She's seeing this saddle. She looks to Xaden and is kind of pissed, and once again pulls up the "you're gonna make me look weak" thing. And Xaden says, everyone knows, like, you can't stay on the back of your dragon. This seat just frees up Taryn's magic. Stop being so fucking stubborn. Anyway, before they take off to finally start this fucking Super Bowl, she makes Adarna go roll in mud. She does not want her golden scales to be, you know,
she's a beacon, man.
Up. Yeah, she's shining bright like a fucking diamond, and she needs to tone that shit down so they don't immediately get shot. All right, so they're up in the air, flying around, looking for this egg that the other team has. And her and Liam are together at this point, and they find a tower that sticks out to them. So they start flying towards it. And I have in my notes, and now dragons and multiple dragons are attacking them, and now it's very stressful.
Yeah, that part was super stressy.
Shit gets real so fast. It goes from, hey, look, maybe that's a thing, to like, oh my God, we're gonna die. Like, holy shit. So they get away from the initial dragon that was like trying to fight them. And now they are stuck facing Jack fucking Barlow, the motherfucker whose time has finally come. And honestly, I'm gonna be real, his death is just not satisfying enough. I feel like it could have been so much better. I feel like this boy needed to lose some piggies, okay? Because
I did think it was really satisfying that the first time Violet uses her signet is to kill that dumb bitch. But
yeah.
I don't know. Him getting crushed by an avalanche wasn't therapeutic enough for me either.
Yeah, for real. Oh, and also, once they find this egg, once she figures out that the egg is in the tower, rather, she does tell Xaden with their little mental telepathy that that's where it is, and he says that he is on his way. So Liam is currently fighting Jack, and Violet obviously wants to save his ass, so she tells Taryn, we have to get up in there and we need to save him. And then I just have multiple sentences saying, God, I hate Jack so fucking much. Like, girl, why did you not already kill his ass? Like, what are you doing? And so anyway, Liam is fucking Jack up. Jack jumps from his dragon and onto Liam's and stabs Liam. And so sweet baby bodyguard Liam, who is just trying to do the right thing out here, okay, and is living his best life, trying to be true to himself, sucking up to Xaden, doing the thing, you know, owes the boy his life, gets fucking stabbed. And I am devastated because I love Liam.
I
He's
love
done nothing
Liam
wrong.
too.
He's so sweet. He like carved her a little fucking Tairn figurine and it was adorable. And I'm just like, you are the sweetest fucking dude. Like, you were just out here doing the Lord's work. And now you are stabbed and bleeding and tumbling
and plummeting
to
to
your
your
death.
death.
And that sucks for everybody involved. And that's why I was really just like, Violet, how, girl, you could have stabbed him in the balls multiple times. At the very least, you could have kept this man from reproducing, and you couldn't even have the decency to do that. Like, if you can't at least kill him, then stab him right in his balls, girl. Like, what is going on? But preferably, well, he should already be dead. With as many times as he tried to kill you, he should already be dead. But
Yep.
she's never killed anybody. She didn't want to cross that line. I get it. But still, I'm glad that she finally crossed the goddamn line.
Yeah, no. Of course, she fucking is distraught about it later, which is, I get it, I guess, but I'm like, man, he deserved it so much. Anyways, I'm jumping ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, just a little bit. So like we said, Liam plummeting to his death, and Violet has no choice but to ask Adarna for her powers so she can channel it, pause time, and swoop down and saves him before, you know, he falls to his death. And now she's pissed. She went from like, listen, Jack Barlow, I have tried to be nice to you. I have tried to, you know, not murder you multiple times at this point. And now you are fucking asking for it. We forgot to mention that she was feeling off when they initially took off and as they were flying around. And she has been worried this whole time that her signet is potentially manifesting and it's going to show itself now. It has decided to show itself now in the form of lightning strikes.
Yeah, a spectacular burst of lightning.
Yeah, that spectacularly burst the shit out of the tower that Jack Barlow has landed on after jumping off of Liam's dragon to protect himself. And that tower plummets to the ground into a fall that nobody could survive. And that was confirmed by Jack's dragon, which I don't know why a dragon would pair with this fucking insufferable asshole. But the dragon is real sad, apparently, that this motherfucker died. So it is screeching at the top of its lungs. And they get the egg. They win. They do the thing. And Tairn is all like, lightning wielder. And he's very proud of her.
Which I thought was cute.
It was very cute.
And then they land and she's puking because she's so stressed out that she killed someone, and Tairn covers her so nobody can see, and I thought that was sweet too.
Yeah, like he's, you know, really trying to protect her, and she's super fucked up about the fact that she killed Jack Barlow, which I'm like, your friend, you just saved your bleeding friend, and the only reason he's not actually dead is because you have a power that nobody knows exists and didn't know was even fucking possible.
Well, there have been other lightning wielders. It's just incredibly rare.
The time stopping power.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
If she didn't have Andarna's power, then he would be dead. There would be no way in hell that he would have survived that. And yet you're still this messed up about murdering this boy?
Which she's also messed up about the fact that, you know, like out of all the signets, that's the one that she had and it can only be used as a weapon. And she didn't want to be the kind of person that is used as like a weapon for the military, essentially.
Yeah.
She wanted to be a healer like Brennan.
Exactly. She wanted something that seemed more, I guess, versatile and does good in the world and isn't just like she's a fucking killing machine.
Yeah. And then Dane comes up and says literally exactly all the wrong things.
Oh, yeah.
You don't have to use it for killing. Yeah. You don't have to be a weapon.
Yeah, you can just, you know, plant flowers in the gardens and frolic in the fields with your power that literally calls down lightning strikes and can vaporize people. It's totally fine, girl.
Cue Xaden coming in being like, shut the fuck up. Yes, she does have to use it. She's like, literally think of all of the people that you could save with this. Like, you know, you wanted to help Mira before, like think of how you could protect her with this. And that finally calms her down a little bit.
There is the part of the conversation though that I loved, which is him telling her that he's fucking glad she killed Barlow. He was a piece of shit and he hated him. And I'm I'm glad you did it. And I was like, thank you. Fucking thank you. His parents should be writing her a letter thanking them for
doesn't he
ridding
say
the
that he's
world
like
of his evil.
He's like a bully and he only would have gotten worse, which is all true. He only would have gotten worse.
For real. Xaden also tells Dane to not fucking coddle this woman. Like, it's not going to happen. And that's when he goes on the whole spiel about, you know, your weapon can save people and yada, yada, yada. She goes back to her room and she's spiraling pretty hard, even after Xaden's talk. And she's just hurling knives at this target over and over again. And basically in her mind, she's like, I don't need to worry about anything. I'll just kill any motherfucker who breathes at me wrong. I can wield lightning, motherfucker. But like not in like a badass way, more in like a ooh, I'm so
She's
alone.
Just slowly losing her mind kind of way.
Yeah, definitely in not
We're having a meltdown.
Positive way. And she's like, I'm just a horrible, awful, stinky killer, and it's just all bad.
Uh-oh, stinky. Oh my God.
I'm just unfortunately this mega badass fucking weapon of destruction. Like, it's horrible.
Poor me.
I know, it's just terrible. But who shows up? Who shows up to kiss her boo-boo and tell her she's not stinky? Xaden does.
He sure does. And boy, does he do a lot more than kiss her boo-boo and tell her she's not stinky.
Oh, yeah. I think a not so cringy conversation that they had that I really liked that came from Violet, which kind of made me back off on being so irritated with her on killing Jack Barlow. And it's when she's telling him that she feels like she's mad that Jack's death is changing her. He's having an effect, or his death is like having an effect on her, like in general. And I'm just like, yeah, like it's not even the fact that she killed him. It's just that she killed a person.
Yeah, she took a life.
And she's like dealing with like the aftermath of that. So I was like, yeah, I should probably be a little more understanding. It is like, you know, a person dying, but also like, I don't know, he's just so fucking horrible and I don't just, it's all bad. But anyway, Xaden does this, you know, cringy thing to follow up her in-depth thoughts and is like, well, you just fucking hit me and you get it out and you yell and scream and I can take all of it because I'm a shadow daddy.
Yeah, she's like, but I don't want to hit you.
Yeah, and then she kisses him.
And this is where we have our first full-on sexy smut scene.
I was just about to say, this is my favorite chapter. And not only is it my favorite chapter because it's fucking the whole time, it's my favorite chapter because in my notes, I just have like this paragraph that starts and then there's one sentence that's by itself. And it's, oh my God, they just keep using the word clit.
They do. Rebecca Yarros really has a particular way with words. She does say
her words are
whole
clit.
lot.
Oh my
And
God.
a lot of ass grabbing, a lot of ass everything. Rebecca Yarros is an ass girl.
Yeah,
like,
but I will say, like, it's good. It's good. I enjoyed it. It was worth it. However,
they break every single item of furniture in the room except for the bed.
Right. However, I was not expecting this to happen. Okay. I went into this thinking it was
that's right.
more of like the PG, you know, PG-13, like YA thing of like, oh my God, we're making out extra hard and oh shit. Then something truly scandalous happens. He puts his tongue in my mouth. Dun, dun, dun. But it wasn't that. It was full blown like me thinking that we were living in PG-13 rules.
And then Rebecca Yarros comes in dropping the clit bomb.
Clitty McClitterson is just all up in that bitch, is the shining star of the chapter. And I'm like, oh God, oh Jesus, what am I witnessing right now? Holy shit. So that was pretty cool. And yeah, they they wreck the whole room and lightning is like striking in the distance and shit.
And in the bedroom.
Like he's fucking Lady Zeus. So
and he's literally having to like put out fires in her bedroom with his shadows because she keeps lighting shit on fire.
I'm literally crying. I put
oh God.
crying.
No, I can see it.
So they fucking destroyed the whole room. Everything's destroyed. It's all wrecked. The chair is wrecked. The bed's not wrecked. Her pussy is wrecked. The target is wrecked. It's all wrecked, girl. Everything's wrecked.
Oh,
I was very caught up in the chapter. All of my notes are done by voice. Yeah. All of my notes are done by voice, so I'm just speaking out loud as I'm reading the book. And oh my God, it's hilarious to see how I was reacting to this. Oh my God, this is ridiculous. Oh my God. Okay. Overall though, for an unexpected sex scene, it was great. We love that. 10 out of 10. Well, like 7 out of 10. But that's pretty freaking good. That's above average. We love that shit. Anyway, they're having their pillow talk after they've got to go, and now we got to get all serious and sensual and know some things. And Violet asks about these scars that he has on his back. And she's like, looking over him, thinking there must be a lot. And he tells her that there is 107. And she remembers from a previous conversation that she had with Liam that there are 107 marked kids from the rebellion. And instead of all of them getting punished, which they kind of do by being marked, but I guess that doesn't hurt them, Xaden offered to take 107 cuts as a reminder that if any of them step out of line, it's his life that'll be forfeited. So he took responsibility for like all of them.
Were they going to kill them, or because he like negotiates them going into the Writer's Quadrant, I thought.
I don't know if they were going to kill them and he like negotiated it, or they were also going to be punished on top of this happening and he like took the punishment for them or whatever. I don't know. It's something. That, yeah. He stood up for the children. He's a real stand-up guy. We love him. He's doing all the good.
Regardless, really it was noble.
Matters. Yes, very noble. They're, after this talk and her being like, oh my God, yeah, you're such a good person. Like, Xaden tells her not to mistake any part of him for being soft and don't fall for me. And I'm like, girl, we both know it is too damn late for that.
Man, that trope, the don't fall in love with me trope.
Yeah, don't fall in love with me. I'm like, bro, you're in her mind. Like, what the what? Like, you literally hear her fucking thoughts of her being like, oh my God, his titties are so beautiful. Look at that jawline. Oh God, he's breathing in my direction.
Which she can't she? Oh God. Can't she shield him out a little bit at this point?
I think she can, but who the fuck now? Like, it's just so stupid. Like, girl, you're in her mind and you see her all the time. Like, you really don't think that this girl is like all up in you. Like, you are just so fucking ridiculous.
Well, I mean, he's got a lot of self-loathing, so I'm sure he's probably like, yeah, we're in the clear. There's no way she could love a piece of shit loser like me.
Yeah, that's true. Anywho.
Because all of the guys have to be like, flawed and interesting. And
he's not like other boys, okay?
He's not. He may be like other shadow daddies, but not like not like any other boys.
All right, so their cute night comes to an end, with him ruining it at the end, being like, don't fall for me. Yeah. And I think he leaves that night and like leaves her flowers, but he's gone by the morning.
Well, no, but she does ask him to stay. He stays. Mm-hmm. But then he's gone by the time she wakes up in the morning. But he leaves her flowers, so she knows that it wasn't like,
he wasn't just using her. Yeah. He's being chivalrous. And she's, kind of like, oh yeah, cute.
And she goes to class.
Yeah, she goes to class with Professor Carr, which is just her and Professor Carr. So it's like, did he cancel the class for the day? And was like, nobody else show up. I'm just going to go help Violet Sorrengail. Bye.
See, this brings us back to what the fuck is this lesson structure?
Yeah, where is the lesson plan, sir? We don't understand. How many other teachers are there? So Professor Carr flies her out to this mountain range and wants her to unleash her power randomly. And she's thinking on it and realizing that every time she's used the power, she's been very emotionally charged. And she's not sure if she's going to be able to do it, without being emotionally charged. But Xaden is a sweet man of the Lord, and in her mind just implants the vision of them fucking.
From his perspective, yeah.
From his perspective. So how nice of him to do.
To get her real horny next to her teacher.
Yes, which is inappropriately pointed out. This poor man. So we say poor man. This was the same man who like snapped that kid's neck because he was reading people's minds. And that's illegal. We don't like that. Anyway, So now that she's very charged, she starts yeeting down them lightning bolts, but she cannot aim for shit. It is not happening. That's the end of that lesson plan. She just yeets around some lightning, and that's about it. All right, so the next morning is when Xaden comes by to help clean up their mess and basically walks in and kind of does a little whistle. It was like, damn, yeah, we really wrecked everything in here.
He was like, yeah, I had convinced myself that it wasn't quite this bad.
But here we are. Yeah, the whole thing is wrecked. And so they're cleaning everything up. They're kind of chit-chatting. And she picks up her book of fables. And Xaden's like, oh, what is that? And when she picks it up, a note falls out of it. And it's from her dad. And it says, my Violet, by the time you find this, you'll most likely be in the scribe quadrant. Remember that folklore is passed from one generation to the next to teach us about our past. If we lose it, we lose the links to our past. It only takes one desperate generation to change history, even erase it. I know you'll make the right choice when the time comes. You have always been the best of both your mother and me. Love, Dad. And she's like, what the fuck? What does this even mean? And Xaden's like, yeah, that's a little cryptic. Okay. And she kind of mentions that happened after Brennan died. Like her dad became more cryptic.
Yeah, and doesn't she talk to him a little bit about what's in the book? And
yeah, she tells him that it's about like the venin and the wyverns and yada yada, and then explains to him, what those are and that kind of deal.
Yeah, and then she's also joking around about how if anybody was a venin, she could like see General Melgren being a venin. And she's like, do you think anything like that could ever be real or something along those lines? And he's like, well, I would really hope that if that kind of threat was real, that our government would tell us about it.
Right. So after they're chatting about venin for a bit, Xaden is like, well, we've chatted enough. You know what it's time for? Shadow Dick. And Violet is just very honest and mature with him and says, I
really respected her in this part.
Yeah, like, I love you and I love your Shadow Dick.
She does not say she loves him yet.
Yeah, she doesn't say she loves him, but just in general, she likes Fjerken him. She likes his face. She likes his body. She likes getting the whole room wrecked with him. But she says, nay, you will not have the pussy on this day. It will not be happening because I am going to fall for you if we sleep together. So
yeah, she can't separate sex from feelings. And I don't know, I thought that was really cool that she was upfront and like transparent with him. Yeah. He, of course, is not a huge fan of that because no pussy for him, but...
Yeah, she does also tell him that she's pretty sure he's falling for her too, but he's just being a dumb bitch about it, basically. And that's pretty much the end of that.
Yeah, and unless he came to terms with that, then they weren't going to be sleeping together anymore.
Right, exactly. So they find out that their king is going to be celebrating the reunification at Basgiath College. And Violet makes Xaden choke a little when she starts describing how she's going to suck his dick mentally because she's now told him that they're not sleeping together, but then is still going to say heinous shit to him in front of like other people. And so that's fun. We love that.
In their minds. It's not verbally spoken.
Yeah, in their minds. And it like makes him like choke and like everyone kind of like looks at him and is like, hey man, are you good? Is everything okay? We get another time skip and a month and a half later, they're in class and they haven't fucked at all. Violet's going crazy because, he hasn't fucked her in a while. And when they're in class, she is going full white girl mode. She has gone full crazy 10 and is like, are you fucking anybody? Is it Imogen? He's just like, no, what the fuck? I'm not talking to you about this right now in class.
It wasn't at reunification day. We jumped directly to reunification day.
So this is before the ceremony. You just,
but it is that day.
Yeah, it is that day. You just learned like, a month before that, oh, the reunification day was going to happen. This is the day of fucking reunification.
Yeah. So just so you guys are aware, reunification is obviously when they murdered all the people that rebelled and reunified the continent or the land, whatever. Yeah, and so Xaden's acting a little weird that day, and Violet automatically assumes that it's because he's fucking somebody else. because that's sane. We go from being really mature and put together in the last chapter to being full-on psycho bitch. She is feral.
Well, that's what happens when you don't get that shadow D on the regular, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I guess, I don't know, I've done some dumb things while suffering from dick withdrawal in my life. My boyfriend's looking at me like, what the fuck are you guys talking about?
All right. The night of the ceremony, Liam goes with her. Even though everybody there, you know, is obviously celebrating them being enslaved and all their parents dying, he still goes. And none of the other marked ones do. And she reaches out to Xaden in her mind, and he also does not respond. He's just closed off. And then she kind of puts it together. Well, obviously, none of you guys would be here because everybody fucking hates you. And what is Liam doing? Handling all the dirty looks and, you know, comments in his direction with class and grace because he is a sweet, respectable, handsome boy, and I fucking love him. She has like a little chit chat with the king. Like, it doesn't really go anywhere. He's just like, I hear you got some super powerful dragons, and there's like 2 of them. And then her mom comes along as well and brings up that Xaden and her are close because their dragons are mated. And the king is like, oh, haha, you'll have to let us know if he tries to start another war. And Violet's like, wow, so funny. That's,
Well, yeah, because
I'll
initially
totally do that.
he was like, where is he? I like to lay eyes on him at least like once a year or something weird like that. And she's like, oh, he's around here somewhere. You know, he's not a big party guy. This guy's a douche. Like, she's got immediate douche vibes from the king.
So then Dane comes to talk to her afterwards and is cupping her cheek. And I was like, and everybody is cupping this bitch's cheeks. Like, ain't nobody cups my cheeks, but this girl is getting her cheeks cupped on the regular. Just
those
a
aren't the
whole
kind of
lot
cheeks
cupping.
I want cupped. Also, like, don't fucking touch my face. If you give me acne, I'm going to be so angry. I don't know where your hands have been.
Like, okay, we're in a war college. Dane, did you wash your hands? Like, where have they been? Have you masturbated recently? Why are you putting them on my face? I just don't understand why we need to have a conversation with Violet without touching her fucking face.
And I don't understand why she's just like okay with letting him do this all the time. I know that they're like okay right now, but like that's how he reads your thoughts. Like that's what he was trying to do to you during the issue with Amber Mavis, and you're just gonna like let him touch your face all the time. I don't know. That part gave me weird vibes. I know that I don't think that's what he was doing at that particular point in time, but still,
it's just how he like treats her. Yeah, it's just fucking weird. I guess she kind of feels the same way because her and Liam ditch out that party real quick.
Well, he helps them leave, so he's nice at that point. And he's like, "Listen, the side door's over there. Like, go before you get roped into another conversation." So he's sweet at that point. Just the unsolicited touching gives me the ick.
Yeah. Don't cup her cheeks. She doesn't need her fucking cheeks cupped, okay? That's all I'm fucking saying.
She's clapped, but not by you.
Yeah. But really, though, as they're escaping, I say escaping, but as they're just like ditching this party, essentially.
It's an escape. Fuck that place.
Yeah. And you know, like, what she's trying to look for when she gets out this party. Like, you already know she wants some shadow dick, okay? And guess what?
She's not going after him for dick. She wants to see if he's okay.
She wants to pretend she cares about more than just the shadow dick. No, I'm just kidding. She definitely does. She soups head over heels for him. Like, it's fine.
And at one point she was like mad because like after Liam and her have a conversation about like reunification day, and she's like, I can't imagine how hard this must be for you, after she notices that everybody's like giving him nasty looks. She's like, I can't believe he would make you come here. And he's like, he didn't make me do anything. He wouldn't have made any of us come here. I came here because I wanted to look out for you. And then that's when it dawns on her like, oh God, this must be a really fucking difficult day for him. And I was a stupid bitch earlier when I accused him of fucking somebody else. And so that's where, you know, obviously her first instinct is to go find him.
Anyway, her Delulu ass decides that she's gonna walk out onto the parapet. Why?
Oh wait, hold on. We're skipping my favorite part.
Oh,
where she's talking to Liam and they leave the party and she's like, Liam, you know that I adore you, right? And he's like, yeah, thanks. And she's like, fucking leave. Get lost.
Leave. Go away.
And he's like, what? And she's like, I gotta go find Xaden. Leave me alone. And he's like, okay, and then dips out. So she leaves and she's looking for Xaden, and she finds him by locating Garrick and Bodhi, and they're standing outside of the parapet. And she wants to go see him, obviously, and they're like, probably not a good idea. He is in a mood. And she's like, yeah, I think it's fine. And he's like, listen, I am his best friend, and I'm not even going over there right now. And she's like, well, I'm his something. and she just walks past them.
Bitch, we're his best friend. Like, we know him more than you. Like, you should fuck off and leave him alone. And she's like, no, I'm gonna go out on this fucking thin-ass, dangerous fucking bridge and almost die because I'm Delulu as hell and I want that dick. And I am framing her very unfairly, but...
And they do have a connection, like, and Garrick and Bodhi know that.
Yeah, for sure. But also still, it just seems very entitled to be like, I know you're his besties and you know him better than everybody, but I'm still just gonna do what the fuck I want. So what she wants to do is walk out on that bitch in a dress, barefoot. And she uses this time to realize that she's definitely in love with Xaden. Good for you, girl. I guess you couldn't have realized it at any other point other than right now.
Something about near-death experiences and inappropriate reactions. It's like Violet's MO, man.
Yeah. And Taryn figures out what her dumbass is doing real quick. And as soon as she's realizing that Taryn is realizing where she is, Xaden's head snaps up and is like, literally, why? Like, what is wrong with you?
What the fuck are you doing here? Yeah.
Which that would be my first question too. Like, girl, you are trying to die. What is happening?
She's always trying to die, man.
So they make their way off the parapet. I'm pretty sure, right? Like, they make it off and then they're like talking.
And he like yells at her and is like, don't ever risk your life over something so trivial as talking to me ever again.
Then she like goes into getting really sweet, is basically just opening up to him, letting him know, like, I know that you fucking love me and want me or whatever. She obviously says this much more eloquently, but it's just pointing out that through all of his actions and the things that he's done.
Getting her to saddle, training her.
Yeah. So she's confessing all this love stuff to Xaden, and Xaden is worn down, and he finally accepts it. Like, yes, girl, I am into you.
Worn down like he didn't love her to begin with. He did.
He was like, he was just holding out against her. You know what I mean? He wanted to make sure that she didn't get with him and didn't love him because, you know, he is mysterious and different. And
well, I mean, very specifically, he's like, there are a lot of things that you don't know about me. Like, you may think you love me, but you don't. Yeah. So we obviously know that there's like more to the story, but he's like done fighting it at this point.
And is definitely dark and mysterious and not like other squirrels. Okay. One thing that she does say at the end of all of her throes and passions of love is, if we let fear kill what's between us, then we don't even deserve it. After she makes this super sweet comment, they are going to Xaden's room and they are getting it on. It's time.
In many different positions and many different locations within the room, setting things on fire, blowing out windows.
I put, and then they're fucking again, y'all. They are fucking again. Merry Christmas. She also blows out his window, like, while they're fucking. And they're on orgasm, like, number 5. And Garrick is just banging at the door. And they're in the throes of passion. And Xaden is like, somebody better be dead. What the fuck? And he says that out loud. And Garrick is like, yeah, I think a lot of people are dead, dude. We're under attack. And I'm just like, girl, what? And I'm like, oh my God, it's fucking happening. Like, holy shit. I thought it might happen on this fucking night because the king is there, right? I got super anxiety ridden and was super ready for things to just get horrible. And instead, it turns out that it's the war games. Son of a bitch.
Yeah, so we find out it's the war games, and Colonel Atos basically tells them, you know, we're going to pretend like the Griffin riders have attacked the outpost or there's like a full-blown attack going on, you're all going to go to different stations. They're essentially first come, first serve, except for the wing leaders. Each wing leader will be assigned an outpost because they have to establish a headquarters. And so everybody's frantically like trying to figure out where they're going. And it turns out that Xaden is being stationed in Athbean, or or Asbean, as
I don't know why my like notes said that. Like, I don't know what happened with the notes thing, but I was just I do the voice to text notes, and it just straight up says like, oh yeah, and Xaden will be stationed in Asbean, and I'm like, wait. Why are we stationed in an Asbean? What is happening?
What is an Asbean?
Yeah, I honestly don't want to know. I think that would just be a hemorrhoid. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah,
so they're all getting ready to go. Dane's like planning on taking Violet with him. Xaden shows up and he's like, what do you want? And Violet's like, can you fucking chill, bro? He's just coming to say goodbye. And Xaden's like, if anybody's saying goodbye, it's going to be you saying goodbye to Dane because you're coming with me. And of course, Dane throws a temper tantrum about it and is like, I'm the one that can keep her safe. Asbean is outside the wards. It's dangerous.
There's no way we're going to be able to call it anything other than Asbean.
Yeah, no, there really is. So he's like, yeah, but I don't hear you saying anything about me taking Mari, because he also wanted to take Liam, who's a first year, because Dane was like, you can't take her. She's just a first year. So is Liam. He's like, but Liam's the best first year in our class, even though you've had him assigned to be Violet's bodyguard all year. And he's like, yeah, well, Violet calls lightning, which is pretty badass.
Yeah, it's kind of powerful. It's kind of intense. Like, once again, Violet does not need to be protected. Tiny Dick Dane, let's calm down.
Dick Dane.
Like, let's chill out for a second.
Old
She's a whole ass
TDD.
lady. Yeah. TDD.
So in the process of them having like this fucking pissing contest, Dane finally realizes that Violet and Xaden have been fucking, and he's like, oh my god, you've got to be kidding me. Him? Which is like the most, I don't know, like the most bitch way to react to anything. He's really upset about it. And finally he's like, okay, whatever, you can go with him. It's going to be the worst mistake you've ever made in your life, but I'll miss you.
Yeah, it's like super cryptic. I'll miss you. Like, he's going to lead you to your death, blah, blah. And yeah. I will say, them just going up to get the orders from Colonel Ados and everything going on with the war games, maybe it was just my general anxiety of everything constantly being like, oh, is there a problem happening right now? But I already had like this gut feeling of like, something ain't right. Something is not okay. And then Dane is saying this shit and I'm like, yeah, something's definitely not okay. What is going on right now? Like, it's very strange.
Yeah, we're in the fourth quarter of the book here. It's high time for a crisis.
Yeah, it's high time for something to go down.
So they take off for their outposts. It's a long flight. Andarna ends up going with them. Turns out Xaden had a little harness made for her that can attach to Terrans. So if she gets tired, then
she just clips right on, man. She's just there for the ride.
Pretty cute. So they go, they're flying. They end up landing a little bit outside of the Asbean outpost. By a lake, and Violet's like thinking to herself, she's stressed out because people die in war games, but then like immediately she looks over at Xaden and she's wetter than the lake that they're posted up next to all of a sudden. Like,
is literally having this inner monologue of like, this is why, or I'm the shining example of why third years shouldn't sleep with their wing leaders, because I'm just so obsessed with him and I just need to keep it professional and blah blah. And Xaden's like, oh well, you keep looking at me like that, we're gonna like delay things by 30 minutes or something.
We're gonna be posted up here a little longer than half an hour.
Yeah, exactly. And they kind of go off into the woods to have a little bit of sensual, sexy time.
Well, she goes to pee first after Liam is like talking about, oh, I think you might have bitten off a little more than you could chew. And she's like, but you like talk about how you owe him your life. What are you talking about? And he's like, I just know where his priorities lie. And she's like, what the fuck ever, I gotta pee, bye.
Well, she also says, don't go all Dane on me. And I'm Which to me, I was like, okay, Violet girl, we get it. You think you got the golden puss girl, but not everybody is in love with you. Believe it or not, maybe Liam is just genuinely your friend and is looking
I
out
don't think
for
that
you.
she
Okay.
thought that he was like into her. I think that she's like, can you please stop being overprotective?
Oh, okay. I guess that makes sense. I don't know. I took it as
Yeah.
like, oh, you're also like obsessed with me and think I need to be protected.
No.
Like, why don't you
I
back
think
off?
I think that she knows that they have like a, because they're besties. Like aside from her and Rhiannon, obviously she loves Liam, but they're like very
Right. Yeah,
platonic.
true. We do love Liam. He is sweet baby and definitely not Tiny Dick Dane.
No.
Anywho, I don't remember that she went pee, but that's good that you specifically remember that. Maybe Zayden is into water sports. I don't know. He's like
No,
watching her
she
from a
comes.
tree.
She comes back or something like that. I don't know. And then they're like, he's rubbing her down behind a rock, and they're making out.
Following it up with the fact that she just peed, I'm like, did she bring toilet paper? Like,
No, she's like rubbing her legs and stuff because she was sore.
oh, right. Yeah, see, okay.
Yeah.
All right, I got
Jesus.
you. Anyway, their interaction doesn't really matter. What matters is that while they're having some sexy time, bomb fucking drops because two fucking Griffin riders show up. Of course, Violet is panicking Anakin and is very much under the impression that some shit is about to go down.
She's in attack mode. She's ready to go.
Oh, yeah, she's ready to fuck them up. And Zayden just tells her to stay chill. Like, don't freak out, like, for the love of God. Like, and this is where I was like, oh my God, this woman, Rebecca Yarros, just made us fall in love with Zayden and then is actually gonna have him betray the fuck out of her. I was like, is Zayden going to like sell her to the enemy? Like, what the hell is going on right now? I was freaking out. It was just so bad. I have just like, like offer her up for ransom or whatever. I don't know what the hell, but I just have like multiple lines of me just being like, oh my God, girls, this is not okay. Like, what the hell is happening? This is all bad. She's just realizing though, with them coming up on them, that nobody is like raising their weapons. And I think everybody on her squad is showing up at this point, and Liam ends up actually holding her back until Taryn shows up, of course, and growls at him and is like, okay, no touchy.
I get it.
yeah. And so everybody is kind of like around her, and with the Griffin Riders there, it's a pretty brief conversation. They just ask if they're armed, and Zayden says yes, and they're like, okay, well, I don't know if they say the enemy or something, but they just say that, you know, they have whatever. Their fucking enemies are attacking some village.
A nearby village, yeah.
Yeah,
and
a nearby
they have
village
to go, but they needed to warn them first.
Yeah. And this village is like kind of close to Aspene. Like, it's not like super far from it. And so that's why they were just giving them the heads up. And they were like, okay, well, we did our job. We gave you the heads up. Like, we have to get out of Dodge because we have an hour to get there.
They also said some shitty stuff about Violet. They're like, you know, if we were to take her, we'd be able to ransom her for enough weaponry to defend all of wherever. And Violet is like calling lightning from the sky. Zayden's got his shadows up their beeholes and is like, listen, if you even try to move right now, you will be dead. Not this
Right.
Sorrengail. So yeah,
she is
they're
not
like,
the
okay,
one.
whatever.
And
like,
also that you can't expect a Sorrengail to risk her own neck for anybody outside the wards. Like, that they're just not going to do that.
Yeah, so after dropping that hot bomb, they fly away, and Violet is understandably pissed. She's very mad. She's like, I'm so naive. How could I have fallen for him? Yada, yada, blah.
I was too busy gagging on that shadow dick to use common sense and maybe think that something was wrong. This is where she starts to realize, though, as she's trying to piece together what the hell is going on, she is kind of taking in her squad and seeing that each and every one of them is marked. And that Zayden actually managed to put together an all-marked squad in the chaos of everybody trying to get the hell out of Basgiath and get to their posts. So she is understandably spiraling very quickly.
That's also when we find out who the actual enemy is, and it's some fucking Venom, which I thought it was going to be Venom for like a long time. As soon as she starts talking about the shit in that fairy tale book, I'm like, this is foreshadowing. This has got to be foreshadowing. And then they keep talking about it. They keep fucking talking about it. And then when she brings it up with Xaden and she's making jokes about it, and he's like, well, I would hope that if that were ever the case, if there were a threat that big, that our government would tell us about it, right? He doesn't ever outwardly say like, oh, that's bullshit. That can't be true. So I don't know. Like he didn't necessarily lie to her. And
that's a good point. But also at the same time, it's like, of course, Dane is the one to be like, oh, the government has our best interests. Like, he's the worst. Overprotective, tiny dick, believes in the government. We just don't love him.
So, well, yeah, because we find out after they start talking about the Venom that the reason why they got sent to this place is because...
Well, they get their orders. Xaden gets his orders.
They get the note that's left for them. We should also probably mention that Violet does start thinking back about when she found that note in the book that her dad left her. It was like in the back cover or something that said like, I know you'll make the right choice. It only takes one generation to erase the misdeeds of the past, whatever.
Yeah, erase history.
So she's like, oh, okay, so maybe this is legit. Like maybe they're telling the truth. And she kind of comes to terms with it, but is still very mad because literally everyone has lied to her, including her dragons.
Right, yeah. And along with the note, she also points out, this is just another factor of her piecing together what the hell is going on. She realizes earlier on when she actually tried to find a copy of the fairy tale book before it was given to her by Mira, that in the largest fucking library in their little kingdom, that there was no copy of it. And so as she's kind of going through and thinking about the fairy tales, when it's brought to her attention that the Venom are the enemy, she's like, oh, well, this book is not just like an obscure book. It's like a legal book. Like my dad gave me something that I shouldn't even have. Book. Yeah, exactly. And that's another part of the reason why it's like starting to figure it out, because it's like, oh, their history only goes back like 400 years, even though they've actually been, it's like been 600 years. So there's like some missing shit happening there. So it's starting to like
conspiracy.
Right. It's starting to compute. And then along with, finding out that her dragons had also betrayed her, because everyone's connected. Sorrengail and Taryn and her and Xaden are all connected. So he knew what was going on the whole time. And Taryn just says...
Or his mating bond with Sorrengail was stronger than his bond with this writer. That's the one bond that's stronger than the one between a dragon and a writer, is the mating bond between two dragons.
So he was able to, keep that on the DL. Anyway, she's made it to the point where she's like, okay, well, I guess that these evil Venom things are real. Okay, cool, whatever. And Xaden gets the orders, and it's basically just stating, hey, yeah, you can choose to abandon this village and their people, or you can abandon your post as wing leader. Try to survive if you can. Like, good luck. They're starting to realize that Colonel Ados knows what's up. And the reason Colonel Ados knows what's up is because of creepy fucking Dane touching her fucking face. Cupping those goddamn cheeks, girl. He was cupping them cheeks every fucking chance he got. And I never even thought about it, honestly. And I don't know how I never thought about it. It's so fucking stupid. But he was reading her fucking memories.
I think the only thing he saw was the memory she had of him saying that he had been going to Aspin. And that's why they sent them to Aspin. They're like, okay, well, they've got to be doing something illegal.
Anywho, so they have their orders. It's all doom and gloom. And Xaden is basically like, well, Sorrengail has never run from a fight. She ain't about to start today. If you guys want to leave, you go ahead. But I'm going to stay and fight. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Violet is obviously down, and it's really just because she doesn't want a whole village of innocent people to be slaughtered, whether or not they're inside their borders or not. She's not going to be complicit in letting these people die, so she's not about it.
I mean, she's like, what the fuck? The government's been lying, and there's like this crazy, unbelievable evil out here. So she's having like a crisis of faith at this point,
Right. I guess we should explain that a little bit better, just in the realms of like truly what this means, because also we left out as she's having the recollection of things going on, it's obviously that, oh, hey, the Venin are real and it's attacking the outside world. And because they have wards surrounding their kingdom, country, whatever, Venin, who are evil magical creatures that have, you know, been basically overtaken with their magic and now they're just like mindless, like magic sucky assholes, they can't cross into the wards. Like, if they do, their magic stops working. This is when we find out that any magic that isn't dragon magic will not work inside of their wards. That's how they've been protected this whole time. Venin would be essentially useless if they crossed over. But outside of the wards, they are horrific, you know, ferocious fucking creatures. Two of them can take down an entire city, and they do. And that's why the Griffin Riders are so off put and are like, yeah, fuck this bitch, is because they just see the people living inside the wards as like these fucking pompous assholes who have shut out the world and are protecting themselves while the world around them is just being fucking slaughtered, and they're lying to their people about it. And
but
Violet,
Zayden and the Marked One they've been like
giving them weapons.
Yeah, bringing out these daggers that are like made from the same material as the wards. And then that's when she realizes that her mom had one of those daggers in her office. So
yep. And she saw it when they were like stealing the map or something. And it made her realize that, yeah, her mom was also fucking complicit in this.
I mean, it kind of like brings up a really common debate that's in like a lot of books, like where you put the good of the many over the good of the few. Although, I mean, at this point, it's kind of putting the good of the few over the good of the many. They're like, okay, well, we're going to save our kingdom. Everybody else is just fucked.
We're down to the final battle, the big crazy shit. There's like a couple of Griffin Riders.
Well,
I think the main one is like
they get
Soleil.
to the outpost and realize that the Venin are coming.
Yeah.
The Griffin Riders land next to them. Is it Liam that has like farsight and he can see what's down there? He's talking about how they have the red veins on their eyes and they're all like confused as to why that is, but not Violet, because she's read these fucking stories and she's like, yeah, it's because their blood's polluted. Nature likes balance. They've been sucking magic from the earth, so nature's taken something back from them. And she's like, well, it's a good thing. It's just the Venin and there's no wyvern. And everybody's like, what are wyvern? She's like, yeah, they're like evil dragon abomination things. And they're like, oh yeah, don't jinx us, Violet. Totally not foreshadowing at all. So then they get into the battling, which pretty soon after they start fighting, they start seeing blue flames coming from these dragons in the distance. And then it turns out that those dragons only have 2 legs, which dragons normally have 4 legs. Wyvern, however, have 2. So Violet finally comes to this realization, lets everybody know, hey, we don't just have Venin on our hands, we also have a bunch of fucking Wyvern, and chaos ensues.
Yeah. So I totally forgot about this, but like one of the girls in their party actually like charges after one of the Venin, and the Venin is like sucking up everything from like the world around it and just like turns that girl into dust and her dragon. Husk. Yeah. And that's it. And you start to realize like, wow, this is really bad. Also, the leader of the Griffin posse that was there to like help them fight straight up said like, you guys should just run, because 4 of them is a fucking death sentence. Like 2 of them took out an entire city. 4 of them, we have no chance. Like there's no way in hell. So
they're like, oh, we have air superiority, and that goes bye real fast.
Yeah, because Imogen's like, we have dragons, and she's like, okay, great, girl. Yeah, dragons are good for getting the fuck away as fast as possible. And they're like, oh, we're not gonna do that. Anyway, yeah, so they're battling. It's all super crazy. Violet and Taryn are, you know, out there. They're fucking it up. And there's a bunch of wyverns. Like they're started off with like only a few, but then there's a fuckload of them, and they're starting to piece together like, oh, this is bad. And they figure out that killing a Venin will kill all of the wyverns they've summoned, because while
I have a bone to pick with this revelation. This is what I was going to talk to you about earlier, but we couldn't talk about it because we save all of our book discussions for when we're recording. So they had talked about this before when they were like, I think maybe when she was with Rhiannon and they were talking about the fairy tales to begin with, they had said that the Venin, since they could not ride dragons or the griffins, they had created these abominations. And they, instead of having the dragons channel power into them, they channeled power into their wyvern.
Right.
They had that whole discussion. And then when they're up flying and they're trying to figure out how to kill all these things, Taryn is like, well, we can only hope that if we kill the wyvern, then their riders will die. And why the fuck Violet didn't realize before that point, or more specifically then when he said that that was not going to be the case, is beyond me. Like, what the fuck do you mean?
I mean, that's fair. I will also point out, like, that I thought was just so stupid, that it happened so close together, was the leader of the Griffins also saying that, like, Dragonfire was useless against the Venin. And you know what Violet does literally 3 minutes later? She goes in with Taryn and they set a clock tower on fire that this Venin is on top of. And she's like, we got him! And then the Venin just like struts out the flames and the wreckage, just walking along. And she's like, oh no! And I'm like, were you not just told that Dragonfire doesn't? Like, girl, do you listen? Can you clean the shadow dick out of your ears, please? Because, girl, this is an emergency.
Talking about how smart she is. Like, that's one of the things that Rebecca Yarros beats you over the head with in this book, is how fucking smart Violet is. And then she just, what?
It's so, yeah, that shit just drove me up the wall. And she was like genuinely shocked. And I'm like, girl, you just had this fucking conversation. What the hell is going on? Oh my God. Anyway, there comes a point where Taryn and Violet are in the thick of it, and a wyvern is coming down from the top of them, and who comes to save her? Not Xaden, sweet baby Liam. And sweet baby Liam and his dragon are like caught in this like death lock with this wyvern, and they are going down fucking fast. And
yeah, and then
the
like
wyvern,
Liam had like somehow gotten onto Taryn.
He like jumped off his dragon onto Taryn before like they basically are just spiraling straight down into the fucking earth. And Liam's dragon dies. And I cried. It was so sad. It was so horrible. And the follow-up, because Liam like knew like that he had died. And the follow-up obviously is that if a dragon dies, like the rider is going to die. There was no way around it. And so we have the horrific scene of, you know, Liam dying in Violet's arms.
And Violet trying to like drag him over so he can be with Day.
Yeah. It was very sad. So yeah, so Xaden shows up and picks up Liam because she couldn't like carry him the rest of the way, and he's like talking to him, and he does
ask her to look after his sister when she shows up next year, Sloane.
Right. Yeah, he does do that. So I have like and Xaden shows up and he picks up Liam because he couldn't make it the rest of the way to his dragon, and he's like talking to him, and then there's like dozens and dozens of wyvern, girl. This is horrific. Oh my God, girl, this is so bad. What the fuck is happening?
She gets up there and ends up killing Venin, and then finally it dawns on her that...
Yeah, there's like a whole battle that happens on like the back of Taryn because like one of the Venin like fucking jump onto him.
Oh yeah, and then they stab Violet.
Yeah, and so they end up fucking stabbing Violet, but Violet manages to murder her, and the only reason she's able to murder the Venin is because I think this was like the female Venin, if I'm not mistaken. There's like female and male Venin.
Oh, this is also where they established that, so there was a dude Venin with like a big staff, and he looked grodier than the rest of them. Mm-hmm. And apparently he's like the teacher, Jedi Master Venin, or Sith Lord Venin. And then this chick and like all these other like baby Venin are like the apprentices.
Right.
And she's like, she's a fucking student like me, and she's beating my ass.
Oh, yeah. And the only reason she gets the upper hand is that Xaden ends up enshrouding the entire of Taryn's back in shadow and complete darkness. And she's like, well, now I have the advantage because I know every nook and cranny of Taryn's back. And she sneaks up on that bitch and stabs her. And they also end up killing like the next two venin, which kill all the wyverns. And, you know, the tide is turning in their favor. Yay, everything's
Lets
great.
everybody know if you kill the venin, then the wyvern they created will die.
But their happy moment is quickly plummeted into not so much great shit because Violet got stabbed by the venin, and
Oh wait, we're
there was
skipping a
poison in
really
it.
big part.
Oh, are
So
we?
to
We
kill,
probably skipped so much. We're like, and also, girl, a lot of shit happens in these last few chapters. Holy
so
shit!
this is a really big part though,
Okay.
because they're trying to kill like the last venin or one of the two last venin, and Violet can't fucking aim her lightning, right? So she's just blasting and she keeps missing, and Andarna decides that she's gonna help. And Violet's like, give me like only as much as I need, because as we know from before, if she overdoes it, Andarna's gonna die.
Right.
She stops time, and Violet is like bringing down the lightning in like inches at a time to hit this one venin to kill off a bunch of wyvern. And she finally does it, and Andarna is like fucking unconscious at that point. Like she's out. And then that's when Violet is like, oh, fuck, okay, she's not doing so hot. And she ends up being unconscious because she got poisoned.
Right.
But this comes into play later. The fact that she used a whole bunch of Andarna's power at once.
Okay, so the poison knocks her out, and it's like made her blood like black and shit. Very goopy, and she can hear what's going on around her and stuff, but she can't move or open her eyes or anything. Like she's completely paralyzed. And that ends things from Violet's perspective. And now the final chapter is...
So she does hear Xaden being like, you've got to live, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, I got to give you dick one more time, baby. No. So the last chapter is from Xaden's perspective. And he, like, a lot of shit happens in this last chapter.
She does hear, before she goes completely unconscious, a very familiar voice as Xaden has taken her somewhere. They didn't go to see the Nolan, the other healer. They didn't take her back to the other outposts. He's like, no, we can't go there.
Right.
You get Violet's internal monologue, like, yeah, you've got to take me to see Nolan. So they don't go there. They take her somewhere else, and she hears a very familiar voice, and she can't figure out who it is. And Xaden's like, you have to save her.
Yes.
And that's when she blacks out, and it goes to Xaden's perspective.
That's right. Yeah. So it's 3 days after she gets stabbed, and she wakes up. And Xaden is there and is like, oh, it's a miracle. You're awake. All you have is this little scar. That's so great. I'm so glad. And at first, Violet doesn't know what the fuck is going on. She's like looking at him with this like blank look on her face. And I was like, oh my God, she lost her memories. And then like literally the next paragraph is like all of the memories flooding back to her. And I was like, oh, false alarm, guys. She can remember everything. Like,
we're not doing the amnesia trope this book.
Yeah, like thank God, because that would have been so fucking annoying, girl. We ain't got time for that. There's other shit going on. Xaden tells her that Andarna is no longer a little baby. Andarna is fucking huge, and she lost her power. So that's something. I'm assuming she's probably going to have another power now from her. Guess we'll see what happens with that. So that's pretty fucking interesting. I love how she just went full like Aragon movie Saphira, where like 1 second she's little and the next second she's just fucking huge. So that's cool. Which does not happen in the book, by the way. It only happens in the goddamn movie. Anyway.
Terrible movie.
Yeah, that Aragon movie was so bad. I will say the boy that they cast as Aragon though, sweet. Lord Jesus, him and his chocolate nipples were the most beautiful thing I had ever seen.
Yeah, I had a huge crush on him as a kid.
Yeah, his name is like Ed Spielers or something. He was, oh God, he was so beautiful. I loved him. So she's, remembering everything, and she's like looking out the window and she's like, what the fuck? Like, where am I? Like, this looks very similar to Aradia?
Eratia.
Eratia. Okay. It looks very similar to Eratia. And this is where...
something like that. I don't know.
Yeah. And she's like, this place is supposed to be burned to the ground. What the fuck? And Xaden's like, yeah, well, we're rebuilding it. So suck it. And he also says, he explains a little further about a conversation that he had with her previously. Melgren, who is like one of the top
He's
commanders
like
or whatever.
Top general.
Yeah.
Dude.
He can see the future. However, with the marked ones, if like more than a couple of them congregate, he cannot see any outcome that happens with them at all. And so he hasn't been able to see what the hell they've been doing. That's why he's been able to get away with what he's doing for so fucking long, is because Melgren can't actually view anything that's happening. So she's like, oh shit. And then we end the book with like the craziest shit ever. Her fucking brother walks through the door and has been helping the fucking resistance this whole time and is not dead. And she's just like,
And
oh,
that's the voice she
holy
heard
shit.
earlier. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And that's how it ends. That's the whole fucking book. So Jesus, like, it was so crazy. I was honestly not expecting her brother to be alive. I expected her to find out that maybe her brother was actually part of the resistance before he died, and that he had like kind of been in on what was happening, because it's always described that he's this really caring person. He was really great, you know, yada yada, because he's a mender and whatever the fuck. So I kind of figured that he would be like a part of it before he had died. I didn't expect him to still be alive. So I was like, what the fuck is happening? Oh, yeah, we didn't mention that. This Aracia or whatever, Xaden is like the rightful ruler of it. And
Yeah, it was
I
his
think they're
dad's
like in
kingdom.
his castle or something. Like he just,
Yeah. The
of
reason why
course,
his lands didn't
he's
get
super
taken away.
rich.
Yeah, the reason why they didn't take away his lands is because they thought it was essentially scorched earth. But if they were to ever find out that they'd been rebuilding, they'd probably try and take his land away from him. But
Right.
good fucking luck, because he's got an entire resistance. So
yeah, exactly. So yeah, we find out that, you know,
or sorry,
Xaden,
revolution. They're calling it a revolution, not a resistance. They are
yeah, fair.
different.
Yeah, that sounds much nicer. And like there totally won't be bloodshed or anything. So super, super interested to find out what happens next, because I'm like, oh shit. I mean, obviously they're gonna have to go to back to Basgiath, right? And the shit with like Colonel Ados and shit, it's like, how are they even? My thing is this. How the hell are they gonna go back to Basgiath now knowing that Venin exists? Because even though they already knew that Venin existed, the higher ups or whatever maybe had an idea that some of them knew that they existed, but not all of them. But now them going back would like threaten their entire fucking ruse, wouldn't it? So it's like, what the hell is supposed to happen now? That's insane. Like,
And
I'm
I
just
can't say anything because I've already read Iron Flame.
Yes, you have already freaking read it. I will be reading it this week, so that will be our next episode. Of course, we won't, you know, just leave it hanging. But I'm very excited and eager to find out what the hell is going to happen.
I'm
Anywho,
excited for you. They're like, I need you to get through that book so we can talk about it. I had no one to talk to about it.
I hope Dane dies. Honestly, I don't actually. maybe dying is aggressive, but I just feel like everybody else be dropping like flies in this world. Why can't he also drop like the little fly that he is? Because fuck him. Actually, fuck him. I hope that there's like a moment in the second book where Violet actually sees him and he's like shitting his pants because he knows that she knows and she knows that he knows, and she's like, I'm gonna meet you later, boy. Like, just you fucking wait. Overall, I liked it. I thought it was really good. It was very, very intense. Like the last half definitely shook up pretty fucking quick. And
yeah, irritating parts aside, I did really like the battle scenes. And
yeah, it was honestly very in-depth. Like, you know, obviously we're not covering every little detail that happens, but the battling scenes are very crazy. And also the saddest part of all of it, out of all the deaths, even sweet baby Dylan, who died in the first 30 seconds of the book, you know,
about Dylan. We didn't even
was
know
like,
Dylan.
It had, listen, okay, we knew enough about Dylan, all right? We knew
I
that.
knew they were going to kill somebody important. I just knew.
Yeah.
I kept getting that feeling because they kept killing off all these people that we like really didn't know that well.
Yeah, they're just there. They would like, Rebecca Yarros would, you know, be like, oh yeah, this bitch, she has a family and she loves somebody and she's like a good person and she's happy, and it's like brutal death. But nobody was, you know, like a main character or anything.
It did
feel
like she was kind of inching her way up, though. It started off with like people dying that she had no idea who they were. And then she had that whole like mental breakdown when Orly died because she had like gotten to, I know that name.
I still
had, like,
just hate the name.
She had like gotten to know Orly and it was like, okay, like I know these people now, like it's really hitting harder. And then we
Right.
just inched our way up to the sweetest, most wonderful person in this book series, in my
And
opinion.
it was like such a sad way for him to die too, because it's not even like he just got stabbed and then died. He had to go through the trauma of like feeling his dragon die, and then he died. And I was devastated. I hated it. I hated all of it. I was like, why out of all people? I mean, I guess it makes sense that he's the one that's getting fucking murdered right now, but Jesus, really? Like we couldn't have just walked away unscathed. We already had that one girl turn into fucking dust, but I say one girl, I don't even remember what her name was. I'm pretty sure it wasn't Imogen though.
No, was that Soleil or was there another girl that died?
I
Because
think
Soleil dies too.
Yeah, Soleil dies too. I don't know. Bitches are dying.
Yeah.
But the only one
I
that
also
matters
said that
is
he's like the
sweet baby
sweetest,
Liam.
most wonderful person in the whole series when the whole series isn't even out yet, but I stand by that.
Yeah, he's not even making it into the second book, but we love him more than everybody. Everybody can get fucked. All right. Well, I think we're going to wrap it up there. I don't have anything else to throw at you. I think I've got all of my opinions out. I've sufficiently explained my hatred of Dane.
And Jack Barlow. Ugh, so
And Jack
died.
Barlow, God, yeah, I'm very, very pleased that he died. If anyone's listening, please feel free to let us know how much you hate Dane. Also, no, I'm kidding. Oh my God. All right, for real though, thank you guys so much for listening. Haley, I'm glad that we could get this first book done and out of the way. We fucking did it. I'm so happy.
I'm just
This
glad
was
that we got
awesome.
to talk about it.
I know, right? I'm so excited to get on to Iron Flame. It's going to be bomb as fuck. That will be the next episode is part 1 of Iron Flame, because that will undoubtedly be split into 2 parts too, because these books are a little long and we want to make sure we don't skip over too much.
Also, we don't want you guys to have to sit through 5-hour episodes.
Yeah,
All
that's also true.
dozen of you that are listening.
Yeah. But anywho, follow us at Girl Dinner Book Club on Facebook. That's the only social media we have right now. We'll probably add more later on, maybe a website. We don't know. We're just feeling it out. We're just having a good time. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, exactly.
We just want to talk about books.
Yeah, that's what we're here to do. I hope y'all enjoyed our little sloppy recap of Fourth Wing
Sloppy
and
synopsis.
all the bullshit. Yeah, the sloppy synopsis that we have going on. And we will see you all in the next episode. Bye.
Bye.